levels do not correlate at all.
Convictions must be strong. Pierce the darkness with the light as you go along. Living with one foot in heaven, breaking the enemy's power. In the strength of Jesus we can stand in the darkest hour. Living with one foot in heaven, ready when he calls our name. For believers to live is Christ, to die is only gain.
Welcome to Heritage of Truth. Today our guest is author Marianne Hering. She's the author of the Imagination
Station
Adventure Series. Is it from Focus on the Family?
It is from Focus on the Family. You know, Adventures and Odysseys were around since the early 80s, and I'm co-authoring these with scriptwriter Paul McCusker.
Great. And they look like wonderful books. One of the things I wanted to start with was a quote from the book Reading Between the Lines, A Christian Guide to Literature by Jeanne Dennis. He says, thinking, planning, imagining, creating, processes encouraged by reading remain essential to society. The point is, the wielders of influence will always be those who read and write, who still work within the framework of language. If Christians remain true to their heritage, if they train themselves to be people of the Word and pursue the disciplines of reading and writing, their influence will be felt once again as it was in the formative moment of our civilization. These books are to help children learn to read, aren't they?
They are, and that is a very lofty goal. And to be honest, I just want a kid to feel good about himself in third grade. If he does happen to become a statesman and impact the future of Christianity, all the better. But I know for moms, it's really tough to get a kid to pick up a book in the summertime. But this is the kind of book that they will pick up. It's full of historical adventure. And so the kids feel empowered when they read them, so they are becoming educated towards that lofty goal, but at the same time, they're doing something besides playing video games, which is the mom's goal.
Mm-hmm. That's true. But it's so important for us to be able to read so that we can read the Word of God. And these books will help set them on that path.
They will definitely help, especially struggling readers, develop the skills that they need to learn how to sight read and go on to even harder books, including reading the Bible for themselves and not having to have them just keep reading storybooks. They can actually get a good translation and move from these books into one of the easy reader Bibles.
And a lot of times, I've heard from teachers that boys who are struggling to learn to read, it's just very hard to find resources for them to use with the boys, because if they're girly books, they don't want to read them. Well, these are not girly books, are they?
Oh no, we visit Vikings and the Gladiators and Kublai Khan, one of the most fearsome Mongols of all time. And then they go from there to the Knights in 1450 and the War of the Roses. So it is definitely full of testosterone, this series. And especially older boys, if you have a third or fourth grader who's still struggling to read, these would not be embarrassing reads. They don't have to carry around Hop and Pop and look like they're reading kiddie books. So it really has a high interest, low reading level.
Yes. And girls are going to like them too.
There's
a young girl.
Yeah. We have Beth Ann Patrick, and she's really spunky, still very feminine. She has long hair, but she does not balk in the face of Vikings. So she's got a lot of courage.
Well, you said that after teaching their children about God, making reading fun is the job of a parent. Why such a focus?
Well, if it's fun, they will keep reading, and it'll catapult them into reading deeper and better things. The fun part of it is learning is fun. But if they don't have the right level books, the kids will see it like learning Chinese or something. They won't understand the takeaway. If you take a step back, go with an easier reading level, and make it fun, the kids will start to naturally go back to reading and do it on themselves, and then the power struggle is taken away. Mm-hmm. So an essential element is the fun part, and then the kids will, what kid doesn't like fun? that's what they were made for. It's their job to play at this age.
Yeah. And then another thing that I've noticed is, at the end of a school day, sometimes they're just too tired for something hard, and they, some even older kids will read picture books because they enjoy it. They might hide to do it, but they will because they're fun, they're easy, they're relaxing, kind of the way we might watch a good movie or something like that when our brains are tired.
Right. I would say never ever, shame a kid for reading something that's easy. He or she is reading. And at the level that they need to be and they're comfortable. I recently did some tutoring with some kids in our local school district who were struggling and was exposed to the Linda Mood Bell system. And her quote is, some kids just need 8 exposures to a new word, and some kids need 250.
Wow.
So there's going to be a whole group, it's about a third of them, that are going to need to stay in those easier books longer than other kids. And so it's just unfair to push them. If they need to read, a book 5-6 times, let them read it 5-6 times until they're confident. You really don't want to undermine their confidence or their enjoyment of reading, because then you have power struggles, and then they will just avoid it if possible.
Yeah, then they'll go to the video games instead or something.
Yeah.
Well, you have a son who struggled with reading when he was younger. How did that play into your interest in writing books to help this group?
Well, I kind of have a science lab in my home. I have twin boys, and one was the 8 exposure kid, and he would just, boom, go off. And I thought I was this great teacher. And then I got the second son, he could not sound out any word at all. He would look at the word dog, and the D sound wouldn't come to his lips, and he would say puppy. So I knew that he had connected the image, but there was an auditory glitch between what those words sounded like and the concept that they represented. So I signed him up for some tutoring, and out of all the things that helped him, it was the speed training that really helped him. So we got a metronome out and did his sight words until he could do them to the beat of 200 words a minute. Just boom, boom, boom. So it was really natural. And so what we did doing that is we got the 250, maybe for him more like 400 exposures to those sight words till he had them, and that catapulted him into books at the first. It took 3 years to get him to read at the first grade level. And of intense
were you
training.
homeschooling at this time?
I was not homeschooling. Did a lot of the work doing kindergarten, yes.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I have a reading teacher friend, and so I could identify quite early that he was going to have trouble. So I got a lot of this taken care of in first grade. But it wasn't until 3rd grade that he was reading at his grade level. And he is just at grade level, but that's our goal for him, is to keep him moving up every year. But he does enjoy reading. He does not really like nonfiction, so we do a lot of magazines and newspapers, which surprisingly, he just loves information. So
Really?
that's how I've chosen. It's what he enjoys to read, and that's what I put around the house.
Good. Well, what is the number one struggle that children learning to read would have?
The number one, I don't know that. I do know that I know the statistics that 30% of the kids are going to learn fairly easily. There's another 30% that need some structured phonics. They need to really pair up those sounds. And then there's another third that the teachers and the parents are just going to have to figure out the best way to get them to learn how to read, and they do need one-on-one. So pretty much consistently, even in really good school districts, you can see the 30 thoughts, and then there's just 10% that are going to need a reading specialist. But anything can happen, that the attention deficit issues and the auditory. My son had auditory processing issues, and so I didn't even know. But whoever, you put your baby in the arms, and all of a sudden you're committed to learning things like phonemic awareness, and so all this stuff comes at you. But it really is just, practice with the right techniques and keeping it fun, and they'll get it because they want to learn. That's something God has put in every child, a desire to learn and know, and and master their environment. They really do want to be empowered.
So give a little encouragement to mothers who are struggling with a child who's not able to read right now.
Oh, you are definitely not the only one. Just look at the reading statistics and talk to your school. There's so many organizations and nonprofits committed to helping you learn how to teach your child to read. There's so much on the internet, but just, mom to mom, don't let it become a power struggle. Keep it fun, keep your kid encouraged, find other ways until he learns how to read or she learns how to read to make him or her feel smart about themselves, because what you really don't want is them to feel like they're dumb because they can't learn how to read, because that is not the case. IQ and reading levels do not correlate at all. So you just need to be encouraged. Go to our website. I have some fun tips, but early on, just go out and seek help. Hire a reading tutor. Turn off the TV. That's what we did. We just kind of had a no electronics rule until my son got better, and we still cut way back on that because I don't want anything competing with the reading because it's so important.
Okay. Well, in recent years, there's been a spotlight on books like the Harry Potter series among younger readers and the Twilight series among the older readers. Why are these types of books so popular, do you think?
Oh, well, they're exciting and they have wish fulfillment. I have read the Twilight series, and as we speak, I think Harry Potter's coming out. The 7th movie is coming out. Harry Potter has a lot of power and popularity. And he has a lot of adventures, but there are definitely some dark spiritual elements in those books, and parents should be very careful when evaluating those for their children. But there are a lot of Christian alternatives. Just go to your your Christian bookstore and look, because we're here at the ICRS convention, and there's hundreds of books out there that would be very wholesome alternatives that would actually teach your children spiritual truths and principles and introduce them to the truly adventurous Christian life, where you truly are fighting darkness every day. And that's when they really sink their teeth into that, I think that's really what they're looking for in those other books, is a true spiritual experience, which won't be found there. That need will not be met.
Right. And your books are a beginning of getting that.
Yes, they are adventuresome, but they're very historical. I do have to say, I did cram a lot of knowledge into these books. They will study Vikings, and they will know that Leif Erikson lived around the year 1000 and traveled to Greenland, and from Greenland to North America. So they'll come out feeling very empowered with knowledge. So they are more education-based. There are spiritual principles. I do choose, I chose out of all the periods of Leif Erikson's life, for example, the summer that he came home and started to evangelize Greenland. He had just brought the gospel back from Norway. So instead of really focusing that he discovered America, I focused on his missionary zeal. And so most kids don't get that in school. And so that's what I've tried to do with every single one of the books, is focus on a historical moment and tell the untold Christian story, so that kids will understand that God has been working throughout history since he created history. He is history. So I just really wanted to highlight for the kids so that they would feel proud of being a Christian.
Now, are there more books coming up in this series?
So far, Focus on the Family and Tyndale have agreed to let me do 12.
Wonderful.
So I just turned in, sent book 7 cover to the cover, and then book 6 to the printer.
Wonderful.
So that's where I am right now.
So where can people find you on the web?
They can find us at theimaginationstation.com.
Okay. Thank you so much for being our guest.
Thank you, Jeanne.
Thank you.
For believers to live